看了不到3年。
The storm sweeping through China's economy is no longer silent. It's visible in the shuttered factories of Dongguan, the ghostly malls of Shenzhen, and the despair of workers across Guangdong Province. The fall of EMA electric cars. The collapse began with a shock. EMA Technology, the electric vehicle company once proudly endorsed by pop icon Jay Chou, suddenly announced a complete shutdown. A factory that had operated for more than 10 years fell overnight. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was a reflection of a broader crisis engulfing China's manufacturing industry. Rising rents, surging labor costs, and razor-thin profit margins have left countless businesses gasping for air. No change, just waiting to bow, one factory owner lamented. Empty factories, broken dreams. In cities like Foshan, Dongguan, and Pingzhou, factory after factory has closed. The once thriving industrial belts now echo with silence. A metalwork entrepreneur described the struggle bluntly. If operating costs aren't met, we can't even cover rent. When factories close one after another, who can still make money? One manufacturer said his company had invested over 2 million yuan into 4 machines, now all idle. The result is a chain reaction. Without stable orders, cash flow collapses, debts pile up, and production stops. In Foshan, nearly every business is linked to the property sector. And with real estate collapsing, the manufacturing base has crumbled alongside it. For those still holding on, the situation grows worse each day. A factory owner shared his story. At first, we rented a 20,000 square meter workshop. Then we cut it to 10,000. Now, we've moved again. Only 2,000 square meters left. It's all we can afford. Taiwanese business managers confirm that many Taiwanese investors are fleeing China, pulling capital and staff back across the strait. Even large brands like Shanshui doors and windows have gone bankrupt, leaving unpaid wages and uncollected materials behind. The show is over, one worker said bitterly. In Pingzhou, Shenzhen, entire shopping rows have gone dark. Once luxury storefronts that cost millions to acquire now stand empty and overgrown with weeds. The rent keeps falling, but nobody dares to rent, said a local shopkeeper. We rely on 300 families upstairs to support the shops below. It's impossible. Processing plants have also vanished. One small factory, opened with high hopes in March 2005, was forced to close within months. All 3 shareholders lost their investment. Rent, wages, equipment, everything gone. Even the Wutong Forest Home Furnishing District in Foshan was battered by typhoons this year. Several well-known door manufacturers were destroyed by the storm, symbolic of an industry already on its knees. During China's National Day Golden Week holiday, the situation only worsened. In just a few days, multiple large factories, including EMA electric vehicles and Shanshui windows, declared bankruptcy. Many workers returned from the break to find their workplaces gone and their bosses on the run. It's crazy, one netizen wrote. Thousands of factory owners disappeared during the holiday. The ripple spread across the nation, from Dongguan to Guangzhou, from Shenzhen to Wuhan. Cities of emptiness. Stores closed, lights off, doors locked. This is the new face of Shenzhen, another observer noted. Even the bustling Huaqiangbei Electronics District, once the heart of China's tech trade, is now lined with shuttered shops. Nightclubs are empty, restaurants deserted, and shop owners report record low sales. One merchant said he earned only 3,723 yuan in a week, barely half of last year's income. Meanwhile, official media continue to tout economic recovery, but ordinary citizens aren't convinced. We're living through the coldest winter for business, one netizen wrote. In Wuhan, a tobacco seller said, "Our industry is dead. High-end cigarettes are unsellable. Mid-range ones lose money, only cheap ones move, and the profit is too small." E-commerce sellers are equally desperate. "This year's online business is impossible," said a vendor. Sales have dropped by half compared to last year. After 5 years, I've never seen it this bad. Across Shenzhen, empty shops are everywhere. Once busy food streets like Huaqiangbei, Snack Avenue, are now lined with "for rent" signs. Some stores closed before they even opened. A local side. A vanishing middle class. In Shenzhen, people have begun to leave in droves. Before, you couldn't even walk on the street. Now it's empty, said a resident. Even the subway feels deserted. Where did everyone go? Many middle-class families are retreating inland. One couple decided to leave Guangzhou for Kaifeng after the new year. My husband's salary keeps dropping, rent is too high, and life here is hopeless. In Kaifeng, it's half the cost. Official data now shows a stunning shift. College graduates' unemployment rate has surpassed that of non-graduates for the first time in history. It's a sign that even education can no longer guarantee survival. In Dongguan, once called the factory of the world, tens of thousands have left. Whether in textile, hardware, electronics, or mold manufacturing, every sector faces layoffs and compensation. Even if you've worked in the same factory for 20 years, one worker said, you'll still end up being laid off. The Great Collapse, China's economic winter has arrived. Factories that once never slept in Guangdong now stand silent, their gates rusted, machines covered in dust. In Dongguan and Foshan, entire industrial zones have turned into ghost towns. Workers who once earned a living wage now wander the streets, clutching resumes that no one reads. The air smells of despair and unfinished work. Even brands once backed by celebrities like EMA electric cars have fallen, leaving thousands jobless overnight. What was once the engine of the world is now an abandoned machine running on broken gears and false hope. In Shenzhen, the city that once symbolized China's miracle, the neon lights no longer blind the night, they flicker. Shopping streets in Pingzhou and Huaqiangbei are filled with "for rent" signs. Even the once crowded subway stations echo with emptiness. Small businesses collapse one after another, while landlords slash rents in vain. Engineers and designers who once built the future are now delivering food or leaving for the countryside. The dream city of innovation is losing its soul, and people are quietly fleeing the Silicon skyline they once believed in. Further north, Shanghai, China's proudest financial hub, faces its own reckoning. Behind the glittering skyline of Pudong, thousands of offices are dark, deserted. Banks are cutting wages. Foreign companies are leaving quietly. Young white-collar workers scroll job apps late into the night, watching salaries drop every month. The cafes where startups once met investors are now half empty, serving only silence. For a city that once called itself the Wall Street of Asia, the crash feels like betrayal. Prosperity has turned into a mirage. And in Beijing, the heart of power, even political confidence is starting to shake. Government buildings still glow at night, but the people's faces grow darker by the day. Graduates flood the streets with no jobs to take, and those who find one earn barely enough to survive. Taxi drivers talk about closed factories instead of politics. The great Chinese economy, once unstoppable, is now gasping under the weight of its own ambition. Across provinces, the signs are clear. This is not a slowdown, it's a national breakdown. The world's second largest economy has entered its deepest winter, and no one knows when spring will return. China's economic collapse is no longer a prediction. It's unfolding in real time. Across Guangdong, Shenzhen, and Shanghai, factories are shuttering, malls are empty, and jobless crowds are growing by the day. The once mighty export engine has lost its fire, replaced by silence and despair. Local governments are buried under mountains of debt, struggling to pay salaries and pensions. The housing market, once a symbol of endless growth, is now a graveyard of unfinished towers. People who once believed in the Chinese dream are now packing their bags, searching for a way out. The illusion of prosperity has finally cracked. Yesterday, the world received the confirmation of that fear. Donald Trump announced a 100% tariff on all Chinese goods, a move that struck the final nail into China's fragile economy. Factories already on life support are now preparing for mass layoffs. Export companies that survived the last trade war may not survive this one. The yuan fell sharply overnight, while global investors began pulling out billions in panic. In cities like Dongguan and Foshan, workers whisper that this time recovery will never come. China's once booming coastal empire is sinking beneath the weight of its own ambition. Now, even Beijing feels the tremors of decline. Streets that once overflowed with opportunity are filled with silence and fear. Graduates can't find jobs, business owners can't pay rent, and officials can't hide the truth any longer. The world's factory has become a nation of shuttered doors and broken dreams. Trump's tariff was not the cause, it was the trigger. The real collapse came from within, years of corruption, debt, and denial. And as the world watches, one truth becomes clear. China's great fall has begun, and no policy can stop it.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.